Hi everyone, and if you are watching this video, it means that you are ready to learn. And in this tutorial video, I am going to be showing you step by step from start to finish how to sublimate onto a photo slate. And we're going to get started right now. So I want to welcome you back to the channel, and I want to welcome you back to another tutorial video with us here. And I'm so grateful, thankful to you the viewer, to you the subscriber who's watching right now. And as I mentioned earlier in the intro, in this particular video I am going to be showing you step by step the entire process how you can basically sublimate onto a photo slate. So there are different sizes, there are different shapes, but we are going to be focusing strictly on the 5x5 inch square photo slate for this tutorial video. The process will be the same for the other photo slates. Sometimes depending on the size, you may have to give some more pressure, some more time frame, but we'll dive into all that information shortly. But before we go any further, you know how I do it here. I'm gonna put everything on the screen here for you. Pause the video, take a screenshot so you can take notes of the temperature, times, resources, tools, equipments, whatever I'm going to be using in this tutorial video will be right there on the screen, especially for you. And one more thing to note, for those who may be asking questions like what heat press are you using, what printer are you using, where did you get your photo slates from, or where did you get your tools from, just remember this one thing: every single item, resource, tool, whatever I may use in this video, I'll have the links down in the description section where you can just go and click on them and they will take you directly to the websites. So please use those links, it really helps the channel and it helps me to grow also. Let's jump over to my table where I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm going to be using in a tutorial video, and then we're going to head over into the Sublimate Studio program, and we will go over to our heat press where we will sublimate that rock slate and do a review. Alright, so we're over here by the table and I have my Workforce 7710, which has been working tremendously and so hard. I then have a ruler, a scissors, my weeding tool, X-Acto knife. I have my heat resistant tape there. Of course, I have the photo slate, and as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be using the square photo slate. There's some rectangle ones, there's some heart shapes, there's some different shapes, but we are going to be using the square one. And you can see here, photo slate. It came in this nice package, bubble wrapped and in a box, and it has also two stands that you can actually put your slate onto, which is really awesome. I'm going to be using 125G A4 paper, 8.5 by 11 for this tutorial video. So what we're going to do now is jump into the Sublimate Studio program, show you the simple design that we're going to be using, and then we will print it and head over to sublimating it. And we are definitely going to be using our HPN Signature Series heat press for sublimating this photo slate in this tutorial video. So once again, if you guys are interested in getting any of these resources here, just make sure you head right down in the description section and I will have the links provided for you. Alright guys, so we are here in the Sublimate Studio program right now, and this is where all the action happens before you actually get to press or sublimate any item. So as you can see, I have 6 photos, made them into a collage, and also I have some words on top of those photos, and we will be printing this design here and sublimating it onto our rock slate. So some important things to look out for first before you actually get into printing is your page print setup. So I'm going to head over to File, Print Page Setup, and make sure that my printer and my paper size are correct. So I'm going to be using the Workforce Epson 7710 and 8.5 by 11 paper, which you would have seen earlier in the video. So these two components here are very important before you get into printing. One of the other things you want to look at is to make sure that the sizing of your image is correct. Now for our photo slate, from my memory, I think it is 5.5 inches in width and height. However, what I like to do is to give myself a little more room to play with. So in this case, what I would have done is I made my width 5.515 inches and 5.542 inches in height. And this is going to sit down and give me exactly what I want. Our next step now would be to go over to File and Print, and you're going to see your print preview page. You take a look at it, make sure everything is okay. You're going to head over to Print, and it's going to bring you to your printer settings. Now, important points here. Make sure that your media type is set to high quality plain paper. Some persons use other options, but high quality plain paper is what I use. You want to make sure your quality is set to best, okay? And mostly, one of the most important things, if you have not flipped your design horizontally in the Silhouette Studio program, make sure that when you get to this point here, you head over to the layout option and you flip, you turn on, as you can see it's on here, and you flip your design horizontally. So basically what this will do is allow the printer to flip your design horizontally for you. So what we're going to do now is to head over to the printer and see how this comes out. So we're over here now on the table with our printed design, and we are going to basically cut around the edges, and then we're going to place it onto our photo slate and then sublimate. But before we get to that point, remember we spoke about flipping your image horizontally. So as you can see here, the image has been flipped horizontally, so the words are basically, and the pictures are basically backward. Of course, when they turn it this way, you wouldn't be able to see the final result, but when we actually do place it on here and sublimate it, it's going to come out the right side it's supposed to. So I like to use my X-Acto knife and a ruler to trim off the edges of the excess edges, or sometimes I use my scissors, but in this case I am going to be using my ruler, and I like to just line it up as close as possible, and I like to just trim off the edges. So we would have trimmed off our edges, and remember we spoke about flipping your design or your image horizontally. So as you can see here clearly that these words are flipped or they are backward, but when we actually sublimate or press this image onto this slate, they will come out right side. So what we're going to do right now is to basically line up our image onto our rock slate, and you want to take your time and do this. There are different ways you can do this. You can put your photo flat down and take your slate, and you can eye it, gauge it, put it down, get some heat tape, or you can put your slate flat down and take your image and rest it down in the middle, and you can take some looks around. Make sure that the image is sitting down in the middle. Make sure the image is exactly the place you want it to be. And one thing that I always say, if you are not 100% sure, do not commit. So one technique I like doing is I like to press down on the edges of my design, and by pressing down on the edges, it gives me a sense and a feeling of where the photo is sitting down with the rock slate. So I'm going to give you an example now. So I've just pressed down on the sides, and when I take up the photo, I can clearly see, well, you may not be able to see in the camera, but I can see where the bends are, so I can see clearly that I'm inside the spacing that I want my image to be in. Alright, it's kind of hard to show that part on the camera, so I do apologize for that, guys, but I'm set, I'm comfortable where my image is right now, and I'm going to just give it one last look to make sure everything is set correctly. And then I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to stick it down one side, then we're going to do it another side, and then we're going to head over to the heat press right now and sublimate our design. So we are now to the part where you probably would have been waiting for. We are going to be sublimating now our photo slate. But before we get any further, let's talk about our settings and what we are doing here. Now I have my heat press set to 386 Fahrenheit and I'm going to be using 300 seconds for sublimating. I don't want to take my Fahrenheit any higher or my seconds any higher because sometimes you can end up burning your photo slate or burning your sublimation project. So I find that this is my sweet spot, so I'm going to work with this. Now you may be wondering also, why is the bottom of my heat press looking like this, my bottom plate? I've took off the padding off of the plate and I've placed this mouse pad here right onto this plate. And the reason for this is because my padding, which was on my heat press here, is actually too thick for sublimating with my rock slate. And what I found in the past is that using that thickness of the padding that was on this heat press, sometimes it gives you too much pressure. Although you relieve the pressure from your heat press, what happens sometimes that is not enough. So what I've done is taken off that padding, place a nice mouse pad, which as you can see is very thin. So I place that here. Then I take a piece of paper, I'm going to place it over the mouse pad. Then I'm going to take my rock slate, which is right here. We're going to place it right there in the middle. And then I'm going to take another piece of paper, put it over the rock slate. We're going to slide in our bottom plate and our pressure has already been set. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to pull down and we're going to let this here sit for 300 seconds. Alright, so our rock slate, as we can see, is finished. And we're going to take off our first piece of paper. You can see the brownness in it there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rip this completely off. Sometimes some persons want to wait till it cool, but for me, I like to take it off right away to see our result. Wow, there we go. And then guys, now you can understand why I say my sweet spot is 386 or 385, 86 Fahrenheit at 300 seconds. Now I must tell you and I must let you know that this rock slate is really hot right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over to the table, allow this to cool down, and we're going to take a closer look at the detail and the quality of this photo slate. Alright guys, so we are here for the final review, and as you can see here, I'm slowly and gently moving around to show you this beautiful rock slate. Take a look at the quality of the slate and the quality of the photos, and then take a look from this angle. Beautiful. Now guys, I want you to remember the process step by step. We imported our images, we put them together basically, then we went on to printing and we sublimated at 386 Fahrenheit for 300 seconds with a nice light to medium pressure. We peeled off our paper as soon as we were finished sublimating. We allowed it to cool down, and this is the final result from sublimating a photo slate. Now guys, if you're interested in getting any of these photo slates, remember to check the description section for all of the links. I'll have every single thing linked down there for you so you can purchase your slates, so you can get your tools and your resources. And one of the most amazing things about this slate is that you don't only have to leave this flat here on a table, or you don't have to just prop it up there on the wall. You can actually use the stands that comes with the slate, and there you go. You can actually use the stand and you can put it in your bedroom, you can put it on your cabinet, wherever you like. So guys, comment down below, let me know what you think about this photo slate. I really think that this photo slate came out awesome. I think it came out perfect. I think that the colors are really vibrant, bright and beautiful. And guys, remember, we make your prints and fashion come alive.